صوت القراء يناديكم يا أهل الله نوافيكم بكلام يتلى يهديكم للحفظ له ويعليكم درجات يرفعكم أعلى لا يشقى من به يتحلى قسما في الدارين سيهنى صوت القراء يناديكم هذا القرآن ربيع القلب يبرئ ما يعجزه الطب.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Abdul Mubeen. I'm currently studying in year 12.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Muaadh Year and I'm in year 11.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Kawsar Hussain and alhamdulillah completed my Huffaz last year.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Ishfaq and I'm in year 11.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Ahmed Khalif and I'm in year 10.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Mahfuz Wadud13 and I finished my Huffaz in 2017.
One key advice and anecdotal experience I want to share is of my teacher from Egypt, Usatdh Abdul. There's this bad notion associated in cultures with tahfiz, which is children being forced to memorize the Quran, and if they make mistakes they're hit. This is not the way of the Prophet. The reason why I brought the example of my teacher, may Allah bless him, is because every time I had made mistakes, despite being late time in Egypt, despite him being tired, despite him sometimes being ill, wallahi, not once did he shout or be rude, let alone hit him. Did this make me complacent? No, it didn't. Did it make me think that he won't reprimand me? No, it didn't. Rather, it made me more embarrassed and it made me want to improve the next time I had a lesson with him.
I think the most challenging part of trying to retain your tahfiz is to try and find time to read your Quran.
Personally, there were three things that kept me motivated. First and foremost, myself, because ever since I was a young kid, I wanted to memorize the Quran and I was amazed by how people memorize it. Secondly, was my parents, because they continuously pressured me and wanted me to become the first Hafiz in the family. Last but not least, having good friends around you who motivate you and have good energy and constantly support you in becoming a Hafiz is vital for your journey.
My main inspiration would be my parents. My dad was there with me from the start and my mother would push me on every day by calling me to make sure I did my best.
A small advice I would like to give is never forget where you came from. We all came from learning small surahs and move on to 1 juz, 2 juz, and what I mean by this is never to give up. Just because maybe you couldn't finish the juz today doesn't mean you can't finish it tomorrow. Like I said, my biggest hardship was finding the time to revise. I see a lot of people, they're revising hundreds and hundreds of books for their A-levels, but just remember, this is the revision that's going to get you to Jannah, inshallah.
The most challenging part when revising the whole Quran was probably to make time while doing A-levels, but alhamdulillah I persevered and I managed to finish the whole Quran.
Now I have graduated, the path to treading for knowledge does not cease, from a deen and dunya aspect of course. This year I've got my GCSE, so I urge everyone to make dua for my class in achieving the best grades. But it's important to understand that the Quran aids in all aspects. How? Tahfiz has trained us to be dedicated in spending more hours concentrated upon reading, which has paramount importance in revision. Tahfiz has increased and given us confidence in memorization, and that's very important for exams when you need to memorize lots of content, lots of quotes.
The thing that motivated me was the fact that I didn't want to lose my 4 years of progress that I made in tahfiz, because it was a difficult journey, and if I lost that, my tahfiz would be meaningless, and the fact that it's sinful to forget.
One of the hardest challenges I faced when memorizing the Quran was maintaining my revision, as I found it hard to balance school life and the Quran. One way I overcame this was by understanding the responsibility in memorizing the Quran, because when you're a Hafiz, you vow to protect the Quran for the rest of your life.
Most challenging part about memorizing the Quran for me would be the revision. Also, when I was in Somalia, I would have to wake up at 4 o'clock every morning in order to go to madrasah to maintain my Quran.
One of the biggest difficulties I faced in completing another round and graduating was finding the time to complete a whole cycle. I found it hard tackling certain juz, but alhamdulillah with my own efforts and with the efforts of my teachers, I managed to almost strengthen those juzes and alhamdulillah in the future they'll become a lot stronger.
What kept me motivated while revising was the journey that I became a Hafiz, and it was a hard journey for me to become a Hafiz, as it took me a long time, but remembering those easy times during that journey helped me towards revising.
One advice is don't quit. When things go wrong, as they sometimes will, when the juz you are memorizing seems hard, when your confidence is low and the whispers of the shaitan are high, and when you want to smile but you have to sigh, when all is pressing you down, rest if you must, but don't you quit. It may be near when it seems far. This journey of tahfiz will be hard, but not impossible.
The Usatdh are always there, they were there for support. Some, the Usatdh would even sacrifice their free time if they had to, listen to my lessons. They'd always give me tips on how to revise, how to memorize, how to manage my time. So yeah, and my parents as well, they were really helpful in this.
My advice would be to anyone who is young and wants to memorize the Quran, that take advantage of the time you have, because the reality is the older you get, the less time you have. And even if you start memorizing the Quran late, do not despair, because the Quran was made easy for us to memorize.
I say that Somalia focused more on discipline and helping us become better Muslims in the future, whereas LEA does that through the Islamic Studies course, and in their hifz time, they focus more on the tajweed aspect of the Quran.
One way you can improve your memorization of the Quran is when you're reading the Quran, you should also try and understand the meaning and learn the translation. When you understand and memorize the translation, you have a better understanding of what you're actually reading, hence your memorization will improve.
Another small piece of advice I'd like to give is to keep good company around you. Alhamdulillah, I got to finishing another cycle. Maybe I wouldn't have even finished today if I didn't have good company around me. This means my friends, they know who they are. This means my family that put in the work. I think everyone should remember, those graduating, those that have graduated already, those that have completed, that none of us would be in this position, none of us would be so-called Huffaz if it wasn't through the efforts of our parents, through our extended family, through our teachers especially. I'd like to thank my first Usatdh from the beginning, Usatdh Awlad, who helped me complete the Quran, do another round, and inshallah we're going to do another round, and we're going to keep going until alhamdulillah I can get to a place. I don't think you can get to a place where there's enough reading. I'd also like to thank Ustad Shakeel that helped me finish my cycle even after I left LEA.
I'd like to thank my Ustads, my family, and those who helped me during my journey, as it wasn't an easy journey, and for it now it's just the start, it's not the end, as this journey is far longer than it seems.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم وإن كنتم في ريب مما نزلنا على عبدنا فأتوا بسورة من مثله ودعوا شهداءكم من دون الله إن كنتم صادقين.
كتاب الله دستوري كتاب الله دستوري وخير الخلق أسوتنا بسنته انجلى نوري لهدي الحق أرشدنا. كتاب الله دستوري وخير الخلق أسوتنا بسنته انجلى نوري.